12 years of music industry advice. This would have made me more money, saved me 6 years, and gotten me more records along the way. I hope after watching this video, you'll have a very clear blueprint on what to do next or something you've been lacking in your career. So let's get into it. Number 1, don't take advice from the unsuccessful. A couple of the examples I see is parents giving their kids advice although they've never pursued either A, a music career, or B, an entrepreneurial path to begin with, and also friends who have never done this with their life. The moment somebody gives you advice, you don't need to say it out loud, but you need to ask yourself a couple of questions, which is, would you trade places with them? What have they done with their life? And if you find that you wouldn't trade places, then disregard the advice right away. When I was younger and I didn't necessarily know what I should do next in my career, I would often talk to other people who had no idea what I should do, and they would give practical advice that may or may not have helped me out. What I really should have done is seeked advice from mentors, people who are further along in their career, and then paid somebody who was further along for 30 minutes to an hour of their time to clarify a lot of questions in my mind. Now let's go on to number 2. Focus on records, not making beats. It's really exciting to get into the studio with other producers and connect and make music, especially if you spend a lot of your time alone in your room making ideas. You can't forget the plot. Records are what pay you. They'll pay you royalties for your entire life, assuming the music gets streamed. And to give you an example, BMI pays me every single quarter, Sony pays me twice a year, and Sound Exchange pays me 4 times a year, as well as master royalties, DistroKid, etc. And so more or less, I get 15 to 20 checks a year. Some of them are big, some of them are small, they all add up. And that's going to continue to happen in my life so long as I don't sell it off. And so when I was younger, I was very hyped to meet up with other producers, get into studios, but I should have had much more focus on how many songs am I making per month, not how many beats did I make this month. Making 100 beats a month is similar to running on a hamster wheel. You're trying to get songs. At its core, that's what you want to focus on. That's going to give you an advance, that's going to give you publishing royalties, and that's going to give you master royalties. And those will pay you out several times a year. Number 3, apprentice early, learn from others. I learned everything the hard way, which meant lots of detours, lots of figuring things out, lots of building my own name up and hoping that I was working on the right things. And so an example is interning for free at a publisher or a label, or just working under somebody that you respect. You need to remember time is the most valuable non-renewable resource on this earth. Even if you're breaking them off a percentage of your income, you will end up with more money rather than if you did it yourself, and you'll spend more time doing it. So I really can't stress it enough. When you work under somebody, you're basically renting their credibility first, and then you earn it even faster over time because you learn everything quicker. If you're an aspiring musician, you start with this limited experience. You get to borrow people's roadmaps if you're interning for them. You're then renting their name and likeness in a sense, which is gonna gain initial industry recognition via someone else's reputation, because they're gonna teleport you much further along in your career to experience the things that they're dealing with in real time. And so that will scale your career with the right mentorship. And there is a reason people say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, because I've been doing this for 12 years, and it's really the last couple of years of my life where things have skyrocketed. But man, if I had known all this earlier, it could have been done in 6 to 7.
I just bit right on the highway.
Check out my Skool community, skool.com/producer-union. I will show you exactly how I was able to generate over $10,000 a month in exactly 60 days. The moment you join the community, you get a 15-minute one-on-one call with me. You get to join our Instagram group chat with over 100 producers and counting. I have the Art of Sales course, how to make money online, grow content, build a brand, and records. I roast your socials. I have interviews with a bunch of important people, and I have over 3 million streams and counting. I can understand you get into making music because you want to make music. You don't want to go be a salesman and learn business and build a website and build a brand and post content. But art is 10%. The 90% you avoid is generally what pays you. But if you choose to focus on art, your life is in other people's hands. And that's really scary because now you don't have the stability you need in order to successfully scale your career. And so focusing on the artistic is typically going to financially limit you unless you're in that 0.01% success range. Whereas the entrepreneurial side allows you to prioritize business skills to just monetize your career sooner, which is going to create greater financial stability and to give you more opportunity to do what you love long term. Number 5, don't wait on music to get you paid. People get really desperate when they have no leverage, aka cash in the bank. And so what tends to happen is you get your first opportunity, you don't necessarily know what publishing means or master royalties or what fee you should agree to. They tell you, hey, we'll give you $1,000. You're thinking, wow, that's amazing. I'm broke, I'll take that all day. But if you had just understood the fundamentals of business and maybe even had some cash in the bank, you would have really ended up with $2,500 or $5,000 or even $10,000 to $15,000 in the exact same situation. And so you are quite literally losing more money by not sucking it up, getting a job right now, having that reoccurring cash flow so that you have more leverage to fight for what you deserve. And you have to remember, cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. If you don't have cash, you just don't have a business. If a restaurant doesn't have cash, that means they can't buy food and they can't pay their employees, therefore there's no business. A lot of musicians don't like to see themselves as a business, but you are a business and you need to act accordingly. Getting immediate income is gonna allow you to have cash. It's gonna allow you to buy time, which I talk about in my last video, why it's so important. So check that out right here if you want.
Haircut. Yeah, I got a haircut. Y'all can stop asking me now.
And you avoid desperation. I have seen so many producers agree to the worst terms ever because they just didn't have any money. But that is why I say it's gonna take time to get paid from your music. So stop waiting around to get paid for it and go and get a job right now. Number 6, passion plus skill equals profit. What I have come to realize is that the middle ground between your passion and your skill is where the money is made. And to give you an example, I love music. I can't describe the way it makes me feel, but I'm also good at business and even teaching. And so school is my profit zone. And I enjoy to do it because it's centered around what I love, which is music. It allows me to connect with more creatives. It's also utilizing my skill set. And so I get to help as many people as I can. I then get to make money from it. And that money allows me to continue to do what I love. Passion is fuel, skill is the engine, and profit is that overlap. So sell what you're good at to fund what you love. If you don't know what your skills are, start experimenting. Learn how to build websites, learn basic coding, learn the art of sales, learn how to communicate really well, learn graphic design. Anything you think would add to your skill set that's going to be valuable. Number 7, and I know 95% of people watching this video are going to maintain a victim mentality. There's just nothing I can really do about it, but I'm still gonna give you my piece and hope that some of you will realize that victim mentality is a sickness and you need to own your outcomes. A saying that I love is, you can either be right or you can be rich.
I can't be successful because nobody's given me a chance.
What is that gonna do for you? Absolutely nothing. And so you either get to be right or you can figure it out, which is so hard to do, and you can be rich. Once you have that mindset switch, it changes everything. You now understand that you are at the center of your life and you control 100% where you end up. And so one day I was 22, maybe 23, and I just realized that nobody was coming to save me. And so I can sit here and feel sorry for myself, knowing the work needs to get done, or I can just take that energy and immediately work and try to get myself out of a unfortunate situation. And so I implore every young person watching this video, victim mentality is a sickness. Number 8, and this kind of goes back to victim mentality, solve your problems, then sell the solution. And so you identify the problem, you develop the solution, you document the solution, you productize the solution, and then you profit from the product, and over time you get to learn and improve on the solution that you provide. Number 9, communication controls outcome. Learning how to express your skills while networking creates very valuable connections or job opportunities. If you introduce yourself to somebody and you've become really well, getting to the point of what you do, what you're great at, the next time that person runs into a situation, you might be the person they need to solve the issue. A lot of people get in front of others and they either are underselling themselves or they're overselling themselves. They're very braggadocious, very obnoxious. You need to get your elevator pitch down, be confident when you say it, and then get to the point. It will leave a great impression on them. And two, your inability to convey value or build rapport will cap your network and really hinder your career growth. 99% of people conflate their ability to talk and say words with their ability to be good at communicating with others. So practice it, because most likely you're not as great as you thought, just like I wasn't for a long time. Number 10, this took me a really long time to accept. I'll never forget sitting on my porch in 2019 and reading a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was only a chapter or two in, and I started getting very emotional as I read it, because what was foreign to me was explained so simply in this book. When you get around people, make them feel appreciated, and you'll be surprised at what happens. Instead, I thought everybody else would appreciate what I appreciated, which is, I like when people are direct with me and cut all the crap. To me, it's the highest form of respect, and I learn really well like that. But it turns out most people don't like being talked to like that. And so I would go around and give people the blunt truth, and shocker, nobody ever invited me back to places. That book, and then many years of trial and error, made me understand the value of walking into a room with great energy, a lot of speed, and then providing solutions. And making it to the point that when you leave, you are missed. Because most people have not understood that when they walk into a room, nobody cares, and when they leave, nobody cares. Or even worse, when you walk into a room, people are annoyed and they can't wait until you leave. That tip number 10 is the most important so far. If I could go back in time, I would smack the crap out of myself, and I would focus on great energy, being quick, having solutions without being a know-it-all, always bringing assets. Hey, here's all of my sound kits. Hey, you need help with Instagram, you need help with content, you need help with editing. A lot of positivity, right? And then the last one, ease. And luckily, I think I've always been easy to deal with. But an example is, I'm driving to the studio, I'm almost there, you text me, oh shit, man, I gotta reschedule, whatever, yada, yada. And me going, oh, okay, all good, man. Let's figure it out, no worries, versus, man, I'm already here, what's going on? And making it this big dramatic thing when nobody cares. Obviously that person probably wants to be at the studio, but something else is going on in their life. So if you can master these, you will be missed when you leave the room. And if you aren't missed when you leave the room, no one's ever gonna prioritize inviting you back. So you're gonna get less studio sessions, less project opportunities, and in general, be out of the loop more than you should. Number 11. I used to work my ass off to get a big artist phone number or the president or VP of a publishing company or label, and then I'd be too scared to text them all the time. Oh man, what if I'm annoying them? What should I ask them about their day? I don't know what to do. And I would wait, and then a year would go by and I'd go, oh shit, I have so-and-so's number. And I'd go to text them and the number would go green because they're a high profile person. They change their number pretty often. And now, even worse than being annoying, I just lost an opportunity of a lifetime. And so there's a few things I've done to really get over this and to make the most of the relationships that I have. Number one, following up is not thirsty, it's professional. If you're spamming people with these long paragraphs, that's annoying as fuck and nobody wants to deal with you. But if it's a beat or some value or something very quick, cool. That's not thirsty. I find that people who are very polite or do not have enough stress in their life, AKA their life is too easy, typically overthink. When you do not have big problems, you make big problems out of small things. You need to have bigger problems so that you start shooting and stop caring. And so, number one is that follow-up. What I had to understand is that getting their contact info is when the real work begins. Send daily or every other day to keep top of mind and build rapport. Look, if you find an interesting video online of something and you want to share it with somebody, whatever, do it. If you want to send them music, great, do it. The point is you want to build rapport and keep top of mind, which is going to keep you guys working on a constant basis. Number two, a fatal mistake I see musicians make is prioritizing new relationships over maintaining the existing ones. If you never work the muscle of maintaining relationships, all of them will die slowly over time, which is counterintuitive because you spend a lot of time getting this relationship or this phone number and then you don't maintain it and then the lead dies, so to speak, and now you gotta start over. Something I did over time that I saw other people do is when I would get a producer's phone number or an A&R or an artist or whatever, I would put in the contact information in parentheses, either producer or artist or A&R. And so that way when I would go to text somebody, I could go to text and I could enter in producer or A&R or engineer, and it would give me a list of everybody in my phone that I could send ideas to. I made a huge mistake not doing that sooner because I would just forget over time who was in my phone. And I go, oh shit, that's right. I have this artist phone number who's blowing up right now that I got 2 years ago. And then I go to text and I'm like, text went green, right? Or I'd realize, oh shit, I have the president of whatever publishing company's phone number. And then I would go to text them and I'd send them stuff for a couple weeks and they'd say, hey, why don't you bring your writers to our studio, or let's come chat about a publishing deal. I was creating opportunity by remembering who was in my Rolodex. People don't make the most of the relationships they have, and they're wasting their time by constantly trying to prioritize new relationships. Learn how to maintain what you have first, and then you can pick and choose over time. Number 12 in my 12 years of music industry advice: learn to be frugal and happy. If you never figure out how much life costs you, you will stay poor no matter how much money you make. And I know that because I was that. I've grossed several $1,000,000 over the course of my career, and I can't tell you how much of it disappeared. And it wasn't until I finally tracked where exactly every single dollar of mine was going that I realized how ridiculous I had been. Why am I spending $2,000 a month on Uber Eats and $2,500 on a BMW and $2,000 on an apartment and $12,000 on a studio? It could go on. There was a point in my life, and I hate to admit it, where I averaged $921 a day for 7 months straight. I know it because when I signed my publishing deal, I blew all of it in 7 months, and on top of the money that I was making. You might be asking, how is that possible? But lifestyle inflation is very real, especially when if you do not have money and then you start to make a lot of it, you're overwhelmed with this joy to finally spend and buy the things you always wanted and take care of other people. But even if you only make a couple $100 a month, open up a spreadsheet or download a budgeting app and figure out where exactly every single one of your dollars goes. And I promise you, you will start to grow your wealth. And then when you actually start to make more money, you won't spend more of it. You will stay within a reasonable amount of money. I know people that make millions of dollars a year. God forbid something happened, they would be broke in 2 months because their life costs way too much money. And so debt or overcommitments is life's leash. Don't wear it. Prioritize freedom above all. I think what most people haven't realized is it's not so much that you want money, you want freedom. And so if you cannot master how to be frugal and happy, you probably will never have money. Examples of where I see people lose is high cost of living. 2, they're borrowing future money. They have way too much debt. 3, and this is the biggest one, people are unaware of their true expenses. Every single time someone tells me, oh, I only spend $1,000 a month on food, when I sit down with them and I make them go through it, it's always $1,500 or $1,700 a month. It's never less. And they go, wow, I didn't realize. And that ends up making $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 extra dollars a year that they could have saved. I had to own a bunch of stuff to realize it does not bring happiness. I sold basically everything that I own, and all of my life fits in a backpack and a little suitcase, and I couldn't be happier. But I had to get there to realize that it's all just stuff. And when I heard people talk about this, I'd be like, you don't know. When I get whatever, I can't wait till I can buy XYZ. You buy it, it feels good for a day, and you stop caring the next. So it's not to say you can't have nice things in your life, but I promise you, track your expenses, stop borrowing money, lower your life costs, and stop caring about this, which is usually tied to debt, and you will be substantially happier. My name is Half, for those of you who don't know me. I've been fortunate to have a lot of success in music, and I make videos for my 17-year-old self. I wish somebody would have talked about this stuff when I was younger. Maybe they did, and I don't know if I would have listened, but for you today, you get to change that. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time. If you found something new from this video, please leave me a comment. It really does help me, and it motivates me. I respond back to every single one. Thank you so much. Take care.